Hey everyone, I'm Ultraviolent4 and this is part 3 of a caster tutorial. We're playing Keeping It Reals, the Faerie Dragon Fire Elementalist. And speaking of Reals, he's the designer of Faerie Dragon of course. I'm sure he would love to hear your feedback. So a few people so far have told me that they've tried out Faerie Dragon and from what I've heard at least, they've been enjoying the experience. So in the description, I'm going to link to the tavern thread for the Faerie Dragon species proposal. So if you've had a go with it, even if you just played it a bit, I'm sure Reels would love to hear your feedback on it so far and how you found it playing out. I think one of the main feelings that I have got from reading that thread is that there's a lot of skepticism about whether there's even a demand for a species like this. So if you have any feelings on that as well, you could share that. Because dealing a lot with newer players, I'm pretty certain that there's a demand for both an easier species to learn spellcasters with, but then also just an easier but obviously magic species. Because what people will tell you to do is to play a Draconian, and while indeed in practice they are pretty good at magic, there's nothing about them that really screams magic. So I know that a lot of you out there want the magic feeling. I get that. I like role playing too. So yeah. Alright, where are we? We're starting D8. We picked up Vehumet and we've got 2 pips of piety. So we can have a look. We're gaining magical power from killing. And he's offered us a few spells. We got a bunch of different level 1 things. We don't yet have his bonus to casting destructive spells and also the extra range. Both of those things will be very useful. But again, note these are all passive abilities, so we can just sit back and reap the benefits. On D8, we might be able to find Lair. It's going to be somewhere between D8 and 11. Don't rush straight in. If you find it on D8, that's usually too early to head in. And I think that's pretty much most of the things I wanted to go over. If you have a look at our spell failures, we've got the ability to use Fireball pretty consistently now. It's at 6% chance to fail, and that's even with a shield penalty still applying. Until we get to 5.6, we're having our spellcasting lowered. So I'm pretty happy with that. There's some argument that maybe we could turn focusing off for conjurations and fire magic, and maybe we could start training some fighting. I think I like that idea because those rates are only going to drop further as well as we do more shields. So maybe let's stop focusing those 2. We'll keep training them though. I'm going to turn fighting on. Yeah, and in fact we're gonna focus shields. No, we're not. Alright, so I like focusing shields generally because getting rid of the penalty is really important. But for our character, there's no huge hurry because we're pretty okay as it is. Alright, let's get on with it. Excellent. An ID scroll. We have a lot of potions that we don't know what they are yet. So let's keep doing those. I'm going to do the stacks of 3. Ambrosia. Okay. Ambrosia is a pretty useful tool. Hell, hey, we picked up a Wand of Digging. That's another useful tool. But Ambrosia is a good panic button for a mage, believe it or not, because it ups your HP and your MP regen. So I wouldn't use it in the mid game when there's a dangerous enemy next to you because it confuses you. But if you're fairly far away from an enemy, even just ambrosiaing for a few turns will give you some magic points back. Nice. We got potions of magic. That's an even safer way to get magic points back. That's good. We've got a new ring too. We have 4 remove curse, so we'll immediately put that on. +2 evasion. Interesting. We got rid of our +2 intelligence. Let's have a look. Our fireball goes up to 8%. I think I'd rather have the evasion, believe it or not. One thing we could do, in fact, is to walk around with the +2 int on instead of protection from magic. And then if we see any enemies that have the ability to hex us, we can quickly switch. Alright, I should be aiming this here to hit them both at the same time. I was lazy. Vehement has just given us access to ignite poison. That's not one that I really like. You need to use it in conjunction with poison magic, which we don't have any of. So at the moment it would be useless. And then you need at least 2 spells to make it work. So I'm not a big fan. Okay, let's try this ring. Protection from cold. Okay, well, we don't need to wear that. But I'll finish making the point about rings. And that's that we can see it here. If we switch rings, see this number here in brackets on the top right? It's showing you how long the last action you took was, which for us was switching rings. It takes 0.5 to take one off and 0.5 to put a new one on. So it's only a turn. So it's pretty quick to switch rings, even in the middle of a battle. See that enemy who can hex you? As long as you're not so unlucky that they, say, banish you in that one exact turn, you should be okay. Okay, I like testing the hatches up. Let's have a look. Shift X and square bracket, because I don't remember what's up here. Okay, nothing too scary. If you have a transporter vault or something on the floor above, you don't want to test the hatches, because you can end up in them. Brown weapon. This falchion is literally the only thing that we could do, but I guess we may as well. We could get poison. That's probably better. I mean, it's not a big deal. We're not actually using our sword for anything except for free riposte. Alright, so this is a good example where we were in the open rather than a hallway, so we didn't get the chance to use our Conjure Flame. And then the Bullfrog is a fast enemy. So what we can do is, well, we killed him instantly, but we Sticky Flame him. So that's your best tool against a monster who's adjacent to you. Oh boy, here. Okay, alright, this is quite scary. So we've met a pack of killer bees. And we're in the open. So these guys are extremely fast. They poison you. And they hit pretty hard, even ignoring the poison. So if you don't have any poison, which we don't, they're quite scary. And then particularly if you're stuck in the open so you can get surrounded by them, you're going to die pretty quickly. So what can we do? One very useful tool we have is a Potion of Lignification. It gives you bonus HP, which is nice, but it gives you a whole bunch of AC and poison. It's an extremely good tool against bees. Other things we can do, they have pretty low MR, so even without any evocations training, we have a greater than 50% chance to paralyze them, so there's that to note as well. But another tool we have here that we can try, at least to get them away from us, is to blow them up with Fireball. So bees rely on the fact that they're quite evasive, so they're hard to hit. But Fireball, it's an AoE spell, literally cannot miss. So we can maybe blow a bunch of these up here. We don't have our extra bonus tile yet. But you can see where it's possible to hit by moving it around. Don't always trust the auto targeter. It will tend to just pick the closest enemy to you without any regard to whether that's going to hit the most enemies as possible. So we'll give this a go. Okay. We killed those 2 bees in one go, and now these ones are all bunching up. If we had the extra bonus range from Vehement, we'd be able to shoot here and get all of them at once. But even getting 2 of them is going to be pretty good. Unless you fail it. 6% miscast. Alright, that's okay. We've got probably 2 more turns to try to blow them up before they get on top of us, so we'll keep going. This is what I'm talking about. The auto target is only going to hit 3. By going to the left, we can hit all 4 at once. Nice, we'll go again. Same thing, we can hit all of them. And nice, so we got all the bees. So that was good. We didn't have to use our leak, but we had that tool available. And that's our floor done. For that reason with Fireball, I don't like to put it on a macro, because if you macro a spell, it's going to use the auto targeter, and as we saw there, it's not very smart. You're better off aiming Fireball manually. Let's do more potions. Degen will drop those. I don't think we've seen heal wounds yet. I'm going to do /- yeah, really drop those. It's going to show us what items we don't know yet. Let's have a look. Yeah, we don't have heal wounds yet. Or haste. Those would be two very useful potions to have in case we get into a rough situation. Okay. I'm not really that afraid of the Hound, but we can still practice some optimal gameplay there by making sure it can't get on top of us. Same thing for this guy. Cool. Our conjurations are to 9. I like yeah, the zombies aren't very clever, so they just walk over the fire. The skeletons too, same thing. Cool. Aha, now that we have shock, we can actually hurt this guy, the Crimson Imp. He's immune to fire. Good. Alright, there's our Orcish Mines entrance. Do Lair before Orc. Alright, so we don't have our little enemy indicator, but a troll is very scary. Can hit for a lot of damage, up to 50 per turn, and they have fast regen, so they're hard to kill. So what we want to do here is we want to start putting down Conjure Flames, because I think there's a chance that it's going to be willing to walk over them, in which case we're going to make him step through 3 of them. The other thing that we want to do, we'll XV him first just to guarantee. It looks dangerous, so I don't know, maybe the game would consider it a yellow enemy rather than red, I'm not sure. But one thing is that with dangerous enemies like this, you can blow your magic points on your highest spell in the hope that you're going to blow them up quickly, which for us at the moment, our most powerful spell is Fireball. So let's go with that. The reason you don't want to do this generally against just any regular enemy is that we're using 6 magic points every time we shoot it. So you see here, we cast 2 of them, we've only got 8 left, and then there's an ogre running in. And in fact, there's another reason. And that's that, I haven't brought this up, but Fireball is really loud. And so it attracts enemies. Look at this, we've got enemies just continuing to run in. Okay, our Conjure Flame ran out, we're going to put another one down. Alright, nice, fighting to 2. That's good. We're getting extra HP for all the fighting skill that we learn. That was a Troll Leather Armor. We can't wear armor as a Faerie Dragon. If you're playing a Draconian, you similarly can't wear armor. But if you're a Deep Elf, a Troll Leather Armor is pretty good. We found our first amulet of the game. Let's go to the stairs. Okay. So amulets are potentially risky to put on, even if you have Remove Curse. There are 2 that can really harm you. The first is, funnily enough, called an Amulet of Harm. It's not a good amulet. So it increases the damage you do, but it increases the damage that you take in return. So it's a pretty dangerous one to have. But when you take it off, it drains you. So that's not nice. The other one is an Amulet of Faith. And when you take that off, you lose a bunch of your piety. The thing here is that with Vehumet, I don't mind losing his piety. He's not like a lot of other gods where you want to use his piety for abilities, and so if you lose it, you're losing a resource. With Vehement, his piety is just giving you passives. Not that we have a spell that we want to learn because it's giving us Ignite Poison, but if you didn't have the spell levels to learn a spell and you're quickly trying to get those before he offered you the next one, so you lose this one, it can be a legit strategy to intentionally put Faith on so that it's a longer until he gives you another one. So the point is, I don't think Faith is too bad. The only one that would really be a massive problem would be Harm. So I think I'm okay putting this on. It could be a bunch of good ones, it could be magic regen, could be some other things. It's +3 reflection. Okay, that's really nice. So this gives us 3 extra shield and allows us to reflect projectiles back at enemies. With our innate +6 shield and our buckler, we've got 14 shield and reflection, so we're going to be really strong against we're going to be really strong against ranged enemies. Okay, so this is interesting. Doing shift and a letter marks it for your shopping list, which you can then see with the $. But for only 168 gold, we could buy an artifact spear. How about, let's clear the floor first, and then we'll see. Because where there's one shop, it's fairly common that you have other shops on that same floor, which is just the way that the level generator works. I let it get next to us, so we lost our chance for Conjure Flame. Alright, and Vehement has offered us Orgreb's Toxic Radiance. So it would have worked better if he gave us the Toxic Radiance and then Ignite Poison, because this is the poison spell. Okay. Let's see. As a Faerie Dragon, we're good at Poison Magic +2. Okay, this is a spell that I really like. It's an AoE spell, so in some ways you could think of it that it overlaps somewhat with Fireball, but it's a damage over time spell, and in fact, and it hits everything on your screen, whereas Fireball, well, it can also hit everything on your screen, but I guess if you have enemies in the way, you can't hit ones at the back. I really like Orgreb's as it's a very high value spell because for only 4 mana, you can be killing everything. But the reason that I'm going to grab this now is that it's especially useful if you get the Spider's Nest. And that's because all of the spiders there are vulnerable to poison. So this is pretty much, it's one spell that auto wins the Spider's Nest. If this wasn't Vehement, so say this was just a spell that we found in a book on the ground, I might not learn this, but the fact that it's timed makes me want it. And the reason that I might not is because, as I said, it kind of overlaps with Fireball. So if we're trying to figure out what sort of spells we want, we said we want, for Faerie Dragon, we want a level 1 spell. Ooh, that's thunder. I wonder if you can hear that. But our level 1 spells are free, so we want one of those. We want a high damage single target spell, which in this case is our Sticky Flame, really. We want a Fireball, because that's AoE. And then our Conjure Flame gives us a bit of utility. So you could think of it like Orgreb's is kind of like an AoE. So it overlaps a bit. But yeah. Yeah, I think we'll pick it up just because we might get Spider's Nest, and then we might not find it again before Vehement replaces it. So let's do that. We'll memorize that. It goes to F. We've only got now 1 spell level left, which makes me think that maybe we should be focusing spellcasting, because Vehement is going to continue to offer us spells. We haven't seen any Amnesia, I think. No, none of that in the dungeon. So yeah, we want to try to free up spell levels, and that means we should turn our poison magic on. let's go into our spell thing. So we're learning a lot of different spells. Maybe what we'll do, let's have a look at our fire spells. I'm not worried about power. It's something that I think new players worry about way too much. So say, oh, fireball is not full power, we need more fire magic. Your spell power doesn't really matter for conjurations too much. It matters more when there's a point of binary success or failure. So say hexes is a good example of that, but not so much for blowing things up. So I think what we can do, I don't like having spells that aren't at round numbers. So we're going to take fire magic to 10 and then stop. And probably conjurations to 10 as well. And then when we have spells in the future, which is almost certain to be the case, that at least the conjurations will train more. So let's turn our poison on. We'll take that to probably about, I don't know, 6. I'm just guessing here. Ogrebs is a level 4 spell, so it's it doesn't need a huge amount of training for it. But we'll see. So we'll get it to 6 and then we'll assess whether we need to train more. Those orcs didn't see us, I think. The priest didn't, so I'm just backing up. As strong as we are, how do we get around there? It's still better to fight enemies as much as possible one at a time. He's gone invis. We can just hit him with fireball. Fireball can never miss, so even if he's invis, we'll still get him. Can we quickly get the conjure flame? Yep. Nice. Oh, he stepped in it. Alright, so the hippogriff, he's 10 speed, so we can kite him. You see, he does pretty high damage, 12, 9, and 9. So we can put the sticky flame on him and then just kite backwards while he ticks out to it. Excellent. Okay. The gargoyle's pretty scary too. That's a stone wall. His stone arrow does a lot of damage. So for that reason, similar to the troll, I want to try to blow him up. Oh wow, this is some crazy vault that has millions of gargoyles. Alright, we need to start running. Let's put down the conjure flame. They might walk in it, so I'm going to put a second one down, just in case. And then we can start blowing them up. So what's interesting here is that we can only see one gargoyle, but we know that these two are standing around the corner. And so we also know that fireball is it's a 3x3 square. So what happens is if we aim the fireball at this tile here, we can aim it there too. You do that with exclamation mark, but it works on either. The point is that the full fireball will happen even though we can't see it. So you can still hit enemies that you can't see. And this is perfect because those guys can't hit us back, which is what you want. Oh nice, that guy died to reflection. Alright, well, we got them all. And we got, oh there's another one. This is some crazy vault. Oh, they're still going. Alright, we're just going to back off. We're going to go get our mana back. I know I said fireball costs, I think I said 6 mana, but it's actually a level 5 spell and then it only costs 4 because we're a Faerie Dragon. I don't know. Still not quite used to this whole low cost mana thing. It's pretty crazy. Alright, so we killed those guys. Ooh, okay, here's a double-headed ogre. Extremely dangerous. Can hit for 15 plus its giant club, and then 20 and its giant spiked club. If we got unlucky, this could one-shot us. So we're just going to go back up. We're going to pick a new stair. It has enough HP that it would probably walk through a conjure flame and not care too much about it. Wonder of random effects we don't want. Here's a centaur. Well, okay, so we don't really care about that guy. With 14 shield and reflection, it's going to die to its own reflection. But the optimal play is still to make it come to us. Then, as we step next to it, it's going to stop shooting arrows. You see, we get a riposte. We get a free poison attack with our falchion. So he's poisoned now. That's pretty cool. and we just double zap him. Alright, the ogre here. Let's make a few of these. Okay, he apparently is willing to step through them. Okay. He's not going to step through them now. So we made him go through 3. But now that his HP is low, he's not willing to step on a 4th. In which case we can double zap him here. Alright, our shields go to 4. We reach level 11. Spellcasting to 8. Is it all good? Quick check on our Orgrabs. It's gone to 5%. That's on F. I'm going to make a macro for that, which will do ZF. This vault with all the gargoyles had a bit of gold and a bit of food. Nothing too exciting. Alright, so there were no other shops on here. Which means, okay. Alright, well let's talk about this. Where is the shop? I do the $, and then we can go to the shop. Okay, so we didn't have an identifier. That's okay. Maybe it's not. Alright, we'll talk about it anyway. For an artifact, it could have a bunch of properties that would be really good for us. An artifact could have up to, I'm trying to think if it's 8 or 9. Certainly could have at least +8 intelligence on it. It could also have resistances, so especially our poison would be very useful heading into Lair. But it could also have RF, RC, could have 3 points of magic resistance, could have a whole bunch of things that would be amazing for us. Could have plus magic points, would be good. And for 168 gold, which is quite cheap, I don't mind finding out. The issue is that artifacts can have dangerous properties, so it can have drain, much like an Amulet of Harm, where when you unequip it, it drains you. Could also have -cast on it, which wouldn't be great. And if this is a distortion weapon that has -cast on it, we wouldn't be able to unequip it without risking banishing ourselves. So that would be an extremely deadly combo. So I think what we'll do is we'll wait until we have an identify scroll before we come back and buy it. This is like a slightly optimal thing, because maybe between now and finding an identifier scroll, we'll find some other shop where we want to spend all of our gold. So we'll wait a little bit, but as soon as we find an ID, we'll come back and get it. Yeah, it's dangerous to blindly put on artifacts. In a lot of ways, this wouldn't be as bad for us as a magic character as it might be for a melee character, because say we were actually a polearms user, so we didn't mind trying to buy this spear, but it was a really bad spear that had distortion, we'd be stuck using it. Whereas at least as a mage, we could still hold on to it and just use our spells still, unless it's -cast, in which time we'd be really in trouble. I mean, that's a pretty low chance that it would have 2 of those properties, but it's possible. Backslash and minus, I'm going to see what scrolls we don't know. A lot of scrolls, in fact. So we'll just read that. It's enchant weapon, alright. Hello, +1 fashion. Alright, we'll keep going. Also, our Orgrabs is down to 5% fail already, and we're only at 2.9 poison magic. So I think 6 might be a bit high. I'm going to change our target to maybe 4, and then we'll assess at that point. It's going up so quickly though. Let's do sticky flame when it's adjacent. A bullfrog is faster than us, so we could technically sticky flame it and then walk away, but it wouldn't be as effective as a 10 speed monster, because it would still be able to hurt us. That's not the right one. Alright, I had a feeling there were going to be multiple orcs, so I thought we can probably fireball them all, which is why I stepped around the corner. We'll aim it in between the two so we hit both. and then let's back up. We've just made a lot of noise with our fireball, so we don't want to be sitting here regenerating our mana. We want to walk back to the stairs in case scary things come to investigate the noise. That's our first cloak. It's black, pretty rockin'. No identifier. Scroll of vulnerability, okay. Can be useful. Oh, here's a wand of clouds, okay. That's a good reason to want to train evocations, but I still don't think this character wants to do it. I'm already training a lot of spells. You see here, we're putting 14% of our experience into a lot of different things. And yeah, Faerie Dragon isn't too good at evocations, but Wand of Clouds is one that might make you want to do it. And the other point I just wanted to quickly make is that Scrolls of Vulnerability, you might not think that they're very useful, but they are. Having the magic resistance of enemies if you have a Hex, even just like a Wand of Paralysis, or even just a Scroll of Fear, will really help. Okay, here's Maurice. He's dangerous. He can go invis, he can steal your items. So he's one that I want to blow up quickly. So we're going to reach into our biggest blaster caster thing that we have, which is Fireball. And he did one blink and then we killed him. Okay, Vehement has just given us Iskenderan's Mystic Blast. Alright, so let's have a look at that spell. It's a level 4 spell. It's kind of a single target and it's a little bit of AoE. So it's a bit of a funny spell. You aim it at one monster, but there's a chance that it explodes, in which case it hits enemies around it. And what's also interesting is that it's a pure conjuration. So if you still were just completely fire magic at this point, it would let you have a spell that can hurt every single enemy type. I don't think we need it though. So we discussed before, we've got our AoE covered, we've got single target covered, and we've also got a non-fire spell in the form of Shock and now also Ogrebs. So I don't think we need this spell. If we didn't have any non-fire spells, I would consider picking this up, but otherwise I don't think we need it. We can hit both. No, not quite. Now we can. There we go. A little bit of repositioning, and then we got to hit both with our AoE. Okay, we hit him with the Sticky Flame and Kite strat. Oh man, okay, well this is a terrifying bolt. Alright, Hornets are really scary. Not only are they really fast, they do heaps of poison damage. They can paralyze you. Even if you have our poison, they can still paralyze you. But especially if you don't have our poison, they have a really good chance to paralyze you. And they can slow you. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is step back so that we're not getting hit by two of them at once. Alright, well let's have a look. What do we want to do? We've got a 37% chance to paralyze them. I don't know, we could mess around with that. It's unfortunate. This is kind of like, this vault is a trap. It's really scary. And you can see it much earlier in the dungeon than this. So I think we can start fighting them. If we saw them from range, we'd be able to blow them up with Fireball and their evasion wouldn't help them. But what we can do here is use Sticky Flame. It again can't miss, and also they're susceptible to poison. So if we do a combination of Sticky Flame and Ogreb's Toxic Radiance, we should kill them pretty quickly. And if we don't, we've got a Scroll of Fear that relies on us not getting paralyzed, but I think we'll be okay, because as long as we Sticky Flame and Ogrebs, they're gonna they're going to be dying to damage over time, even if we are now paralyzed. Another thing that we have is a Wand of Clouds. We could throw one of those down too, but I don't think that's necessary. If we didn't have the Scroll of Fear as a backup plan, we might consider quaffing the Potion of Lignification, which would give us that R poison. But I think we'll be okay, so we'll go with Sticky Flame. We're going to start doing an Orgrebs. Alright, so we get this toxic status, which while we have it is going to poison everything that we can see. We want them both to be getting poisoned, so I'm going to step back a tile to bring the other one into line of sight. And then, what can we do? We can use Shock, which is going to go through both of them. Okay, the first one died. Now, this one's still getting Orgrebsed. We're going to Sticky Flame it as well. And again, our Orgrebs ran out. Let's reapply it. This ant is also susceptible to poison, so we'll get some value out of that too. And we get double zaps there. Okay, so that worked out okay. More Orgrebs. We don't want to hit ourselves with our Shock. Okay, and some more food again. So that was extremely dangerous, that vault. It's a really scary one. These guys are susceptible to fire, so we can just wait and then Sticky Flame him. Easy. I think this crocodile is likely to be hanging out at our entrance to Lair. A new ring. It's +4 dex. I wonder. We can see if +4 dexterity or +2 evasion is better. So with +4 dex we have 22 evasion here, and with +2 evasion we have also 22, but then less shield. Is that right? 14 and 15. Okay. So it turns out that the extra dexterity is better. There you go. Alright. This time I'm just going to be lazy. We can just let the centaur kill himself to reflection. Okay, no Lair. So we're on to D11. It's the latest possible time that we could find Lair. Which can be extremely dangerous because it means that D11 can be really scary. It's not uncommon to find ugly things here. In this case we found Snorg, which is extremely terrifying. Snorg does a lot of damage as a troll, and then when she goes berserk, does 150% damage while moving fast. So what do you do against Snorg? We don't really want to fight her. Okay, 15% chance to hex her is quite low. So I think we want to just start backing up to the stairs. Is Vehement giving us our extra range yet? I don't think so. He is. Okay. So when you've got the extra range, you have a full screen fireball. I think what we could do here is throw a fireball or two. Maybe one more. See how close Snorg is to death. Not very. And if she's willing to walk over fire, she was not. Okay. So that's interesting. Because we hurt her, she's now not willing to step in. So if she's just going to hang out, then we have plenty of time to fireball her through it. Okay, now she stepped in. We'll put down... she can walk around another one. But so the reason I've been doing this is that if it looked like we weren't going to kill Snorg, we would just go back upstairs and then we wouldn't have to fight her. Man, if she goes berserk, what do we do? I think it's still too dangerous. It looks like she's nearly dead, but she's got troll regen, and if she goes berserk, she'll kill us really, really quickly. So I want to go back upstairs, and in fact, we'll X that stair out. That's too dangerous to go down and be adjacent to her. So I'm hoping we can find Lair and just avoid her. Let's check out the hatch. Don't take hatches down. They'll throw you into the middle of a floor that you don't know yet. Ooh, acquirement. Okay, this is interesting. Alright. Weapon we don't really care about. That should be pretty obvious. As a species that focus almost entirely around using magic. Armor will not ever give us the body armor. Jewelry is interesting. I'd say it tends to be the most variable in terms of it might be really good or quite often it's just really bad. It's like a ring of protection from negative energy or something like that, which is actually called a ring of positive energy. Book is interesting, but I don't think there's anything that we're sorely lacking, and Vehement is still gifting us spells, so I'm not too worried about book either. Staff is interesting for Faerie Dragon. So a staff can be extremely useful for a mage character because not only can you use it to get resistances, so say you have a staff of fire, it will give you a point of protection from fire, but it's a spell enhancer. It increases your power of spells. But as a Faerie Dragon, you cannot use a staff and a shield at the same time because you're small. So I think in most cases you probably would rather use the buckler. So yeah, I don't think staff is a play either. We'd have to ditch our shield. And I don't like evocable. So I think our options are probably between jewelry and armor. Gold is if you have some really expensive item in a shop that you want to buy. Don't just do it for no reason. Having lots of gold doesn't benefit you if there's nothing to buy with it. So I think we go armor. We've never seen a hat. Some of our gear, while it looks really stylish, doesn't have any good properties on it. So let's go armor. It's an embroidered scarf. Alright, so let's try that one. Oh, I didn't notice, but when we killed Maurice, we picked up a glowing cloak. Let's do the cloak first. Let's not do the cloak, because he's an ogre. We'll just go upstairs so we don't have to worry about being disrupted. It's quite rude. It's a +1 cloak. Okay, and our scarf is a scarf of resistance, which is amazing. That gives us a point of RF and a point of RC. So that's a great pickup. Really helps us with our resistances. We lose AC, so a scarf is always 0, whereas a cloak is 1, and a cloak can go up to +2. So we're trading 2 AC to get a point in both RC and RF, which I think is definitely worth it. If I had a ring of protection from cold as well as a protection from fire, at this early point in the game, I might value the AC more, because we'd be able to swap to get either if we needed it. But with no other means to get RF, I think I'd rather just guarantee that our character has one of both. Because that first point of RF and RC is extremely valuable. It reduces the damage you take from that element by 50%. So it's really big. Is this the RF ring? It's a ring of ice, no. Alright, there's our lair entrance. We do have a couple of teleports, but only 2. It's not many. Okay. I should be using Allgrabs more. We don't mind using that for just random situations, because it's not noisy like Fireball is. Oh, okay. Alright, so let's XV the Basilisk. It has a 33% chance to petrify us. So this is one where we want to quickly switch to our Ring of Protection from magic. Because then, if we XV it, it's only a 9% chance. That's much preferable. We still don't want to get hit by that 9% chance, so we're going to try to blow both of these guys up, but particularly the Basilisk. Alright, I got it. So now the elephant's just a 10 speed enemy. We sticky flame him and then we kite him out.
Just doing a quick check on our skills. Shields is at 4.5. Hey, there's an amnesia scroll. Alright. Well, we want to read that. We've got, what have we got that we can get rid of? I think we've stopped using Throw Flame, and that's the highest spell level one we have. We want to get rid of a few of these level 1 spells, Magic Dart, Flame Tongue as well. But 2 on Sticky Flame is better, so we'll forget that spell. Nice. So now if Vehement offers us, we've got 9 spell levels. Okay, I think we can stop focusing spell casting in that case. 9's quite a lot. If he offers us something that eats a bunch of those, we can focus it again. But for now, that's okay. And now that we're not focusing that, I would like to focus our defenses. This is sort of it's a general skill training tip, and that's you want to focus on your offensive skills, but when you're having no trouble killing enemies, you want to train your defenses. And at the moment, except for Snorg, but she's quite a scary unique, we've had no trouble killing things. So let's focus fighting for more HP. We could maybe train evocations, but I still think it's kind of unnecessary. So what do we have? We've got 23 paralysis charges. Oh boy, here's a Hydra. Okay. Let's start walking away from that. It's a 6-headed Hydra. Each head can hit you for 18 times. Well, this is something that I was going to explain when we were in Lair, but we've ended up adjacent to the Hydra. When you are a caster or a mage, and you have low AC, and probably also low HP, in our case we only have 69, do not ever let a Hydra hit you, and not even once if you can help it. So for instance, we could sticky flame this Hydra and then start walking away while it ticks out over time, but even that one turn it could kill us. 18 times 6 is higher than the 69 HP we have, and sure, we have some AC, we have some evasion and some shield, so it's unlikely that all the heads would hit us, but still, you're taking the risk when you allow a Hydra to hit you. So what can we do here? We could fear it. There's a chance that it doesn't work. So I think what we want to do, we don't have a scroll blinking, we don't have blink the spell. So I think what we do, oh okay, well it did hit us, we didn't die, is, I was going to say, we start walking away, we start walking around the pillar until we could manage to get a gap from random energy. And what would either happen is it would hit us once, and we got pretty lucky here. We can have a look with Control P what happened. One missed, one blocked, one missed, one blocked. So only one of the heads hit us. And you see, it did 13 damage. Is that correct? Yeah, 13 damage off one head. So you can imagine if all 6 hit, we'd be in trouble. But anyway, now that it's hit us, so it got random energy there, it's probably going to fall behind. So we just walk away. Okay, and there's the random energy. And in fact, the adder switched with it, which is surprising. I think, yeah, because it switched back. Because normally the higher hit dice monster gets priority. Okay, and then what do we want to do? I think we ultimately just want to go back to an up stair. So we just want to walk all the way back over there. Hopefully keeping the gap. This adder's really messing with the Hydra. We've got several tiles. Why don't, no, I'm not willing to try to 1, 2, 3, 4. I think in 4 fireballs we could probably blow it up. Okay, so what's been happening here is that adder's been messing with the Hydra, and so now we have lots of gaps. It's because the adder is faster, so they've been switching around a lot. So we could try to blow this up, but otherwise, if it's not working, we'll just go back upstairs, similar to Snorg. Using our most powerful spell. Okay. At this point, I don't know, it's hard. I don't want to cast this last one, because if it gets random energy, it will get on top of us, but it's so nearly dead. Okay, let me just have a look.
If we didn't kill it, where would we go? We could kite it around this pillar here. Around this. It's kind of risky, but I think one more fireball will kill it. Okay, it didn't. One more definitely would though. Okay, yeah. Okay, so it's very nearly dead. If we kill it with the next fireball, it won't get a chance to hit us back. So we can aim at this. If we're just aiming at the Hydra, it's going to hit us. We obviously don't want that. So we can shoot at the ground adjacent to it. Alright, and we killed it. So that was our first Hydra experience. Always fun when you end up adjacent to a Hydra. Hydras will tend to walk through Conjure Flames. So if you have the ability to put multiple down, maybe you can deal with a Hydra. But if you just put one down and expect it not to walk through, it's going to walk through. Still haven't found any identify swirls. I'm being bad by casting fireballs and then resting in the open. I should not do that. We should be walking back from where we cast the fireballs. Being patient. Being a good caster player, not an impatient mage. Just gonna die. Okay, we can sticky flame this first one. When he dies, we then get the chance to AoE the back ones. Okay, good. Fighting to 5. And the Wyvern is fast and dangerous, so I'm going for a fireball before it gets to us, and then sticky flame to finish it off. Alright. Sticky flame and kite. The troll isn't faster than us. Here's Fëanor. Is Fëanor susceptible to fire? I think in practice he might be, because he's often wearing a ring of cold, which will make him susceptible to fire, but we can't actually see that. He has AoE cold spells, so I'd like to put our ring of protection from cold on. I should have taken off the MR ring, I forgot. Alright, so now that we have 2 points of RC, he's not going to hurt us very much, and we'll hit him with Fireball. Yeah. Not so afraid of his Bolt of Cold. And he has, yeah, he had a Ring of Ice. So, I don't know. We could pick up the Ring of Ice, we don't really need it. Just trying to think, if we see an Ice Cave, it would allow us to have 3 pips of RC, but we don't need that many. 2 would be plenty. Those levels of resistances become less and less valuable for each additional point that you have. The first one is by far the most important when it's still at 50%. Alright, so how do we kill Snorg? She's further away from us this time. Okay, we don't have another vulnerability. Because otherwise, vulnerability plus a Wand of Paralysis might have done the trick. What's scary here is that we do have teleport scrolls to get away from her, but we only have 2 in total, which is a very low number. So if she goes berserk, we're very far away from any upstair, and she'll run us down, so we'd have to teleport. We could try, maybe we'd get lucky. I think it's unlikely. I think running all the way back to this upstair, which is so far away, before she goes berserk, is probably not going to happen. So I think what I want to do is we'll hit her with some fireballs as she approaches. Once she gets in range of it, we'll put down a Wand of Clouds, and we'll see if we can get lucky to get some really good cloud effect. If we get Mephitic Cloud, it could confuse her, would probably be the dream, and that's pretty common when you have no evocation skill. So we'll see how we go. And if this goes poorly, she goes berserk, I will have to teleport away. Is she in range for clouds? Not yet. So one more fireball. Okay, now we'll try. Ah, caught it exactly. So we got the Mephitic Cloud and she got confused. So there you go. Isn't it good when your plans work out exactly how you plan them? Alright, we got level 12, so we got a new level up. We'll get more int. Alright, that went amazingly well. And now we're done. So it's time to do Lair. Don't go past D11. I usually like to do at least D11 before I go into Lair. But it's dangerous to do D12. Enemies can be really scary from D12 onwards. And I think we're going to wrap this one up here. Lair it's a trying time for your budding caster, but we'll talk about that in the next one. See you later.